Hello, everyone. My name is Raquelyn Bueno, and I'm an intern here at the Institute for the Study of Sports, Society, and Social Change. I'm here today to talk about how COVID-19 affected women in sports. During the pandemic of COVID-19, inequalities of women in sports has resurfaced and intensified gender inequalities with female athletes and women leaders. Many sports have been canceled and were on the brink of extinction. Some background and knowledge about gender inequalities in sports is a gendered ideology that sports portrays, such as women being underpaid, undervalued, and underrepresented, which is why many of the leadership roles are male dominated. There is also a perception that women are inferior to men. Along with that, femininity and masculinity are characteristics that people use to portray the behavior and role of women and men. Many women are seen as weak and fragile, while men are seen as strong and tough. Women are also constantly marginalized and are more expendable than men due to the masculinity ideology that is embedded in sports. Now, knowing a little bit of the background on the inequalities that women face, COVID-19 has impacted women in sports by having less participation due to cuts and delays in programs. Along with that, the World Health Organization shut down all professional and elite sports, which impacted women's sports significantly. Everyone is also impacted by the financial crisis, but the state fund stimulus are more willing to help aid men's sports team than women's. Some examples of women's sports being impacted in the past is the Australian women's rugby team being cut while the men's team was being kept. Also, the NCAA women's basketball tournament that happened earlier this year. In this picture, you can see that women's college basketball tournament was versus the men's college tournament. You can see that the male's facility has more resources and better treatment. After players put this on social media, that is when the organization decided to revamp the women's resources and make it more fair. It should have never reached that point, and there's clearly an imbalance between the two genders. In this picture, it's it's a representation of the gender gap of what women earn compared to the men's. It shows different sports teams and countries that portrays the lack of pay gap that women receive. In order for us to aim for equality in sports, we can do something that can help promote it in such a way of changing the perspectives of gender ideology in sports and having more women in higher positions that can do decision making. This would also be a great opportunity to build something new and reconstruct women's sports. Along with that, recognizing and incorporating more of women's voices into sports, having more representation in media coverage for female athletes, and also allotting money distributions towards gender equity that would help balance things out more. And also having institutions like the Women's Sports Foundation and the Wall of Song to advocate for women in sports and continue to push for equality. They have social media platforms and movements that they promote. This topic is important because it can help future female athletes and leaders to have a platform to step on and a future to look forward to in sports. It has slowly been progressing, but still needs to have more work done to normalize equality in sports. Before I end this presentation, I'd like to end it with this sweet quote from Kofi Annan that says, "Gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good governance." Thank you for your time.